APNvideo.com is on the air. We're coming to you from Tempe-Diablo Stadium. It's the 2025 MSBL World Series. The BBQ Forkballers and the Houston Cyclones drawing the battle lines here from the winter home of the Los Angeles Angels. I'm Jeff Lowry. You're getting a look at the two teams here getting set to go in this 45 and over Cactus division. The BBQ Forkballers, three-time champions in the 40 division, and they'll be coming out with Rich Valle on the mound. On the other side, Dean Cosme, the manager of the Houston Cyclones, will toe the rubber for them. The Cyclones come in here with a 1-1 record, while Brett Mandel's Philadelphia-based team is undefeated at 2-0. And that's Brett on the left, and acting manager today, Chris Sklodowski. When we come back, all the play-by-play action in just a moment.
Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Andre Vappy, originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm here by way of Houston, Texas, playing with the Houston Cyclones. Dean Cosme is our manager. He's been coming out here for quite a few years. I play on his local team out in Houston, but we have guys from all over here on our team. We got a guy from Hawaii. We have some guys from Delaware, Jersey, just coming all over. So, getting to know everybody here has been a good time, having fun. We split yesterday 1-1. Unfortunately, we couldn't get both games, but looking to get after it today in our stadium game. And just looking to have fun and happy that, Arizona has welcomed us here multiple times and really enjoy coming out here with MSBL. Look forward to coming out more in the future.
Baseball, BBQ Forkballers baseball coming up next. Standing here with longtime forkballer Lawrence Richmond. Lawrence, you've been on this trip for a long time. What makes it so special?
It's the camaraderie and just the time off the field as well as on the field. We got a great crew. Have a lot of fun together. Staying in the house the whole week and just sort of not having to worry about anything, nothing from home, nothing outside of just playing baseball, having fun and making new memories.
Unlike some of the guys, you actually tell your family you're coming out for baseball. It's great to have that kind of support. What do you say to some of the guys who have to lie and tell them they're on a business trip?
Stay off of Instagram. No, it's just a great thing. Like, it's, mental health awareness. This is my therapy. So I get 3 weeks of PTO a year. My wife gets 2 of them, and I keep 1 for myself. So after that, everything else goes.
Forkballer Jeopardy was a highlight of our house this year. What game show would you rule on? Give me your top game show if you had to perform live.
Wheel of Fortune. What's the one where they start leaning you back? Is it
that
Truth or Dare?
Okay.
But Wheel of Fortune has been my favorite.
Fantastic week of baseball here. Great player Lawrence Richmond. Any predictions for the game today?
A lot of loud cracks. I think Rich will be on the mound, dealing well, pitching the contact, so defense is ready to go, so we should come out the victor.
Baseball, BBQ Forkballer baseball coming up next.
So the Chicago Cyclones are taking the field here at Tempe-Diablo Stadium on a beautiful day for baseball. And the veteran left-hander Dean Cosme will toe the rubber here today for the Houston Cyclones, going up against three-time champion BBQ Forkballers. They finished runner-up last year. So Dean is hoping to get off to a good start here at Tempe-Diablo Stadium today. Well, longtime leadoff extraordinaire Russell Kessingen will start things off here for the BBQ Forkballers, and this afternoon affair is underway. A called strike on the outer third, and we're off and running in the 45 and over Cactus division. 2025 MSBL series. Fly ball right field, should be playable. And the catch is made, and 2 pitches and 1 out. That'll bring up second place hitter Danny Tyler. Good speed, guy that can handle the bat very well in that number 2 spot for Brett Mandel's undefeated and 3-time champion BBQ Forkballers. They were runner-up last year, but they had won 3 consecutive, 21, 2, and 3. So Danny Tyler's up there and trying to wreak some havoc here against Dean Cosme, the starting pitcher and manager of the Houston Cyclones. Coming to you from Tempe-Diablo Stadium on a beautiful morning for baseball. Or I should say afternoon. That's in there for a strike. 2 strikes on Danny Tyler. Kessinger flied to right field. Tyler, the second place hitter, and Lawrence Richmond on deck. And a comeback to Dean, and he knocked it down. It goes right to the second baseman, but we mentioned the outstanding speed of Tyler, and he's safe at first. Next up for the undefeated BBQ Forkballers is the power-hitting third-place hitter, Lawrence Richmond. Runner at first, 1 out, top of the first. Cosme delivers, and he delivers a strike on the outer third, and it's 0-1. BBQ has been in the championship game the last 4 years. I believe this was their first year in the 45s. Formerly known as the Chandler Bats Philadelphia Invictus Bats. So they've had a few name changes over the past few years. They were 3-time champions in the 40 Mountain Division, 21, 22, and 23. Runner at first with 1 out, and Lawrence takes low for ball 1. Yeah, just a beautiful day here in Tempe. Temperatures will be in the high 80s today. High for about 87. Here's a throw down to second, and that's going to be a successful steal. It gets away, and now the runner has to scamper back, and he's in safe. So credit Lester Reynoso with the game's first stolen base. 2 balls and 1 strike on the third-place hitter, Richmond. And he hits one off the glove of the pitcher, and it's going to go out towards short, and that's going to be another infield hit. Now Aaron Dextimer. You got runners at first and third and 1 out. Here's the pitch. And it's off the outside part of the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Runners are at first and third. As the Forkballers are threatening here, and here's a ground ball to short. They got to go second 1, and they'll flip it back to first, and that is an inning-ending double play. 6-4-3, and after a half an inning of play, the Forkballers go down scoreless, and the Cyclones coming up. Take a look at starting pitcher Rich Valle, the right-hander. He'll be going up against the Houston Cyclones, and the top of their order here in the home half of the first inning. Chris Vallis to start things off. Home half of the first inning, leadoff hitter for the Cyclones against Valle. First pitch in there for a called strike, a knee-high fastball. He just painted the inside corner, and it's 0-1. Stockton and Manfredi to follow for Houston. So it's Houston versus Philadelphia here from Tempe-Diablo. And a high pop-up. Who's going to take it? The pitcher has to. That ball wasn't hit high enough for the catcher to get there. And there's 1 down on a nice catch. Now Rick Stockton, second place hitter in the lineup. It's a guy that's going to probably be one of the leaders in on-base percentage. And hopefully for Dean Cosme's team, a lot of runs scored in that number 2 spot. He takes a pitch high for ball 1. No score. We're in the bottom half of the first. 1 ball and 1 strike. Forkballers got a couple of runners on, but a 6-4-3 inning double play erased their chances of driving in any runs. And now back on defense for the Forkballers against second place hitter Rick Stockton. And he skies one. Third base side. Is this playable? It is. The catcher can't make it. Well, valiant effort. Not the easiest play, without a doubt, especially at this high sky and the fact that that ball really wasn't hit all that high either. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Valle delivering to Stockton. And a looping fly ball back a short and in for a base hit. So Houston picks up their first hit of the ball game thanks to Rick Stockton. A lawn dart out into center field, and now third baseman Frank Manfredi. Runner goes on the first pitch. It's a hit and run. A fly ball to right field. It drops in for a hit, and they should be, well, he heads back to second base. Thought it would be first and third. And that's probably one of the toughest plays for a base runner, but that's a part where you got to pick up your third base coach. Nonetheless, Houston back-to-back singles, first and second occupied. Sklodowski, the cleanup hitter. And he dribbles one to shortstop. This is going to be a tough play. Throw to first, not in time. That's an infield hit. So the Cyclones have strung together 3 straight hits, and bases are loaded. So Valle's got himself in some hot water here in the first inning, and now Ruben Gomez. Infield playing back at double play depth. In on the corners, a little bit more from the first base side. And it's 2-0, and there's nowhere to put them. The bases are loaded with 1 out. If you're the Cyclones, the one thing you want to stay out of is a ground double play here. In the air, and this should at least get 1 run in. That is out into left field. It falls for a hit. 1 run is going to score. They'll go station to station. And the Cyclones draw first blood and lead it 1-0. So Ruben Gomez with a single to left field. I think that was a Sun base hit. Now Collingham. So the bases remain loaded after the leadoff hitter popped out. 4 straight hits for the Cyclones. And a strike called to Collingham. And a base hit left field. Hard hit line drive. And again, they'll go station to station. And the Cyclones lead it 2-0. So Collingham with a base hit to left field. 5 straight hits for Houston. Now the gentleman that we had in our pregame show is Andre Vappy, left-handed hitter. Missed the World Series last year. He had I think a foot injury, and he takes a strike, and it's 0-1. 2-0 Cyclones here in the home half of the first. Swung on, popped up. If it stays fair, that's going to plate maybe 2 runs here, and it will. 2 runs score on the play, and with lightning-like swiftness, 6 straight hits, and 4 runs here in the home half of the first for the Cyclones. So credit Andre with a 2-run double, or rather a 2-run single down the left field line, and he takes second on the throw to third. So a little encouragement from Brett Mandel, the manager, longtime manager of this Philadelphia-based team. That'll bring up Mike Ross with runners at second and third, still only 1 out, and he's swinging at the first pitch. Ground ball shortstop. They're coming home with it, and now they got him caught up in a rundown. And the tag is made for out number 2. A fine defensive play out there at shortstop. One of the veterans, longtime mainstays of the Forkballers, Riley Burton. And the defense was set up that time as if they were conceding the run to try to turn a double play maybe. Now Paul Bennett batting for the first time. So 4 runs have come across. They're still at first and second, now with 2 out. Nice breaking ball, but did not get the call. That evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Bottom half of the first inning. And this one is in the air on the left side. The shortstop calls off the third baseman, battles the sun, and he's got it. But a lot of damage was done here in the home half of the first inning. 4 big runs for the Cyclones. And we'll go to the second from Tempe-Diablo. Houston leads Philadelphia 4-0. Riley Burton will start things off. We go to the top of the second inning back here from the winter home of the LA Angels, Tempe-Diablo Stadium. Burton, Goodwin, and Lovell will be the first 3 for Brett Mandel's BBQ Forkballers. Second inning of work for Dean Cosme, and here's a hard hit ground ball, but it's foul. If this ends up being a close game, boy, Riley Burton, a big play on defense in the bottom of the first inning with the bases loaded and 1 out, and he came home with it. He loops one over the head of the second baseman, and did the right fielder catch it? He sure did. Well, that's a Marucci big play of the day. A great sliding, sprawling catch that time, and there's 1 down. Outstanding catch by Russell in right. Next up for the BBQ Forkballers is Chris Godwin. Up straight up. Let's see if it's playable for the catcher. He's under it. He's got it. A great job of picking that up. That could not have been easy with this high sky and the bright sun right in his face. 2 down here in the top of the second inning for the Forkballers. I'll bring up Chuck Lovell. And the changeup nips the outside corner. Has no balls, 1 strike on Lovell. I always think of the astronaut. Ground ball up the middle, and Lovell has found center field, a base hit. So that's the 3rd hit for the BBQ Forkballers. Lovell will be lifted for a courtesy runner, and that's the previously batted out. Joe Howler will dig in with 2 out and a runner at first. Short lead at first, and the pitch is taken high, ball 1. 84 degrees, our game time temperature here in the top of the second inning. Cosme delivers, and he gets him to ground to short. He stays down on it nicely, flips to second, and that'll retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. After an inning and a half of baseball from the 2025 MSBL World Series, the Cyclones lead it 4-0. Cyclones back. Chris Kelly made that nice play at shortstop, and leading things off here and starting the bottom half of inning number 2, and he takes a strike on the outside corner. Or maybe slightly off the outside corner. 0-1 the count. 4 runs come in the home half of the first for the Cyclones. Off to a great start at 4-0 against the 3-time champion Forkballers in the 40-plus Mountain Division. Popped him up, and that's going to find the seats right in front of us. 2 strikes on Chris Kelly. Steve Kuntz and Russell Holder, the right fielder, who made a nice sprawling catch in the top of this second inning, are the first 3 scheduled hitters for the Houston Cyclones. Two, and a base hit center field. That is the 7th base hit of the ball game for Houston. And a bouncing ball down the third. Diving play, nice. Go to second. Can Mandel turn the double play? He cannot. Nice turn down there. I mean, he got rid of it with lightning-like swiftness, but it all started with a great defensive play down at the hot corner. There's Russell Holder. Strike called. Runner at first, 1 out. Left field, base hit. And kind of a close play at second. Almost got a fielder's choice there. So a nice hit to left field by Russell Holder. And runners are at first and second. And I believe we have a hitter added to the bottom of the order, number 1, who grounds one up the middle. The shortstop cannot make a play. It gets by him, and the bases are loaded. That'll be an infield hit nonetheless. Well, I thought they were adding a batter to the bottom of the order because the umpire turned around like he was announcing the hitter, but that was leadoff hitter Chris Vallis. Now the second hitter in the batting order is Rick Stockton. 9 hits now for Houston, and actually I think they've changed that to an error on the shortstop. So you got runners at first, second, and third, 1 out, and that hit him, and that's going to force in a run. That is the 5th run of the ball game for the Cyclones, and they lead at 5-0. I'll bring up Frank Manfredi batting for the second time in 2 innings, a single, a run scored in the 4-run first. So Houston batting. And now up 5-0 here in the bottom half of the second inning. And strike called. It caught the inner third. Sklodowski is on deck for Houston. Bottom half of inning number 2. Bases loaded, 1 out. And a run is already in. Nice job by the catcher. Billy McDaniel doing the catching here today for the BBQ Forkballers. That one just off the plate. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike on the hard-hitting Frank Manfredi, batting in that number 3 spot. And here's a base hit in the right field. He got it by Mandel. 1 run is going to score. The throw comes back in quickly. And the bases will remain loaded. The second run to score here in the second. Frank is 2 for 2, and now he has an RBI single to his credit, and it's 6-0 Houston. Now I think acting manager kind of, maybe because there's a drive, right field, base hit. 1 run is in, and again, they'll go station to station. It's an RBI for Sklodowski, and it is now 7-0 Houston. Well, he was making out the lineup because Dean was getting the start on the mound, and so he's kind of like an acting manager while Dean's concentrating on pitching. First pitch is low and away, ball 1 to Ruben Gomez. So 10 hits in total now for Houston. They have plated 7. A ball and a strike to the cleanup hitter. Still only 1 out, and the bases remain loaded for Gomez. And he is ahead. He's in an advantage count at 2 balls and 1 strike. Valle delivers, ground ball to the shortstop. You got to get 1 here. Second 1, and Mandel did a great job ensuring that they got at least 1 there. So Gomez with an RBI. It's a fielder's choice. 4 runs have come in the first, 4 more here in the second. And it's 8-0 Cyclones. Well, I don't think any of us anticipated this kind of a start, whether you call it a great start for the Cyclones or a bad start here for the BBQ Forkballers. Now Callingham. And he hammers one into left field. A diving attempt. He cannot come up with it. And another run is in. Callingham with the 11th hit of the day for the Houston Cyclones, and they lead it 9-0. Now Vappy batting for the second time. He had a 2-run double in the 4-run first. It has been all Houston here, and they lead it 9-0. And we're only in the second inning. First and second, 2 outs. Still got a lot of baseball left, 9 runs. I mean, obviously, you don't expect to hold this Cyclones team scoreless the rest of the way, but still a lot of time left. And they are stealing, and really a good throw probably would have had him. He did not get a good jump. And so runners are at first and third with 2 out. Well, let's see if Andre can come through with another RBI hit here. And he draws the walk on a 3-0 pitch, a 4-pitch walk. And the bases are loaded once again for the Cyclones. Well, just a little encouragement for Valle on the mound. He's given up a lot of runs. That pitch count right around 50, 55. Now Ross. He takes a strike, 0-1. That's backing out of play, watch out. So no balls and 2 strikes, bases loaded, 2 out, and a swing and a miss, and down he goes. So 5 runs come across, and at the end of 2, 9-0 Houston Cyclones on APM Video Sports. Getting a look at the starting pitcher for the Cyclones, Dean Cosme. He's been staked to a 9-0 top of the 3rd inning lead. David Waite will start things off for the BBQ Forkballers here in the 45 and over Cactus division, MSBL World Series. Cosme delivers the left-hander, and that's in there for a called strike. So Houston gets 4 in the first, 5 more in the second inning. He swings and fouls it off, and he's quickly behind at 0-2. Dean kicks and deals. He struck him out swinging. He had some good movement on that breaking pitch. And just like that, there is 1 down here in the top of the 3rd inning. There's Ray Vetter, another one of the longtime mainstays for Brett Mandel and his BBQ Forkballers. Victus Bats, going back a few years to the Chandler Bats Philadelphia name. Chopping ball down to 3rd, and Andre's got it. Here's a long throw. Safe. Maybe. Umpire didn't seem too secure on that call. And my apologies, that's not Andre. It was good having Andre on our pregame show, and always like to thank the vets for their service. Runner at first, 1 out. Here's a bunt, 3rd base side, and you can just put that in your hip pocket. So Russell Kessinger is aboard on a bunt single. Manfredi was playing really back there at 3rd, and they were going to try it again. And this time they try it with Danny Tyler, the 2nd place hitter. 5 hits in total now for the barbecuers, but they have not, or the Forkballers, but they have yet to push across a run. And here's a fly ball to right field. This is going to hold up, and that will be caught. Holder with a strong throw in, and there is 2 down here in the inning. And now a dangerous hitter in Lawrence Richmond coming up. Lawrence was on our pregame show, and change up, and there's no chance to get either base runner. Double steal for the Forkballers. And now they have runners at 2nd and 3rd. 2nd and 3rd with 2 out here in the top half of inning number 3. They didn't get the call on the 0-1 pitch. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. And a changeup fouled off, and Cosme is ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. I think you got to be looking off speed in this situation. If he comes back with a fastball and you can't identify it, foul it off. And the 2-strike pitch. Change-up, swung on and missed. And Cosme with an inning-ending strikeout, and at the end of 2.5, Houston leads 9-0. This is the World Series MSBL 2025. Paul Bennett to start things off. We go to the home half of inning number 3. Jeff Lowry with you, apnvideo.com, and our coverage of the 2025 MSBL World Series. And Valle is still out there. I'm sure Brett is trying to get as much work out of him as possible. BBQ Forkballers come in here with a record of 2 wins and no losses. Cyclones trying to go to 2-1, and they're off to a good start, leading 9-0. So Paul Bennett up there, 3 balls and no strikes. Strike on the outer third, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike on Paul Bennett, Kelly, and Kuntz to follow. Wave and a miss. Valle picking up his tempo a bit here in the 3rd inning. And it's hit to the right side, and a sliding attempt by Brett Mandel. He knocked it down, but it got away from him, and that'll be a leadoff single here for the Cyclones, and they're off and running again. Throw to first, runner really didn't have much of a lead. Kelly, a base hit back in the 2nd inning when Houston put 5 up there on the board. Ground ball to the shortstop, got the convenient hop. 2nd one, Mandel's throw to first, and a 6-4-3 double play. There's 2 down. Well, it all started with Riley Burton. Great job at shortstop. Brett Mandel, the veteran second baseman, with a great turn. 2 down in the inning. And a big wave and a miss by Steve Kuntz. He reached on a fielder's choice. Two down, nobody on here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. So Valle working 1 ball, 1 strike, second to last hitter in the starting lineup. And here's a looper back a short, and he cannot come up with it. Again, battling the high sky and the bright sun, and that'll go for a base hit. So a 2-out single extends the 3rd inning here for the Houston Cyclones. Now the fleet-footed right fielder Russell Holder. Ground ball shortstop, and this should retire the side, and it does. So some good BBQ Forkballer defense, and we're heading to the 4th. It's 9-0 Houston. Dean Cosme is starting his 4th inning. We come back to beautiful Tempe-Diablo Stadium, and we go to the top of the 4th inning. Houston up 9-0. Cleanup hitter Aaron Dexheimer, who hit into a 6-4-3 double play back in the 1st. Five hits in total for the BBQ Forkballers, the visiting team. Dean Cosme delivers another strike. And I think one of the keys to his success, he's getting that changeup or the curveball over, and he is getting ahead of the hitters in the count. Swing and a miss, and down he goes. BBQ shortstop Riley Burton bats for the 2nd time. 3rd strikeout for Dean Cosme. And this one is going to be out of play to the right side. No balls, 1 strike. So the Forkballers got roughed up a little bit there in the 1st and 2nd inning, to put it lightly. The Cyclones got 4 runs in the 1st and scored 5 more in the 2nd inning and lead 9-0. They've pounded out 13 hits. changeup and a slow roller down the third, and Manfredi, unfortunately for him, the ball hit the base. That'll be the 6th hit of the ball game for the Philadelphia BBQ Forkballers. Chris Godwin popped up to the catcher, who made a nice play on a short pop-up right there at home plate. And the first pitch is off the plate, outside, ball 1. We're in the top of the 4th. That's in there for a strike. BBQ Forkballers started coming down to the World Series in 2007. They've won championships in 21, 22, and 23. The runner goes, and that's an easy steal for Riley Burton. As I was getting ready to say, 21, 22, 23 World Championships. They were runner-up last year in the World Series. And earlier this year, they competed in the Caribbean Championship, and they won that one. So they put together a nice string if you go back to 2021. So it's a walk with 1 out, 1st and 2nd occupied, and the batter's going to be Chuck Lovell. Lovell, a base hit. He takes a strike at the knees, and it's 0-1. Well, Dean would love to induce a ground ball here. Maybe he could get a changeup as the runner from second goes to third. So they're on the corners with 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. Infield kind of double play depth. Here's a bunt, first base side, foul ball. Now run the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. I'd like to thank Dean for setting up today's broadcast and credit Brett Mandel for another year with the BBQ Forkballers and APN. I think BBQ might be just wanting to break the ice, so to speak, get that first run. Runner goes, and it's in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Good stop by the catcher. Nick Collingham calling the balls and strikes here for Dean Cosme behind the plate. Second and third takes the double play away, and here's a ground ball down to third. Manfredi got to get 1 here, and the out is made. Run will score. That'll make it 2 out in the inning, and it's now 9-1 as Houston leads by 8. Joe Haller will bat with a runner at second base, 2 out. And he pops it up first base side over by the railing, and it's going to find the seats out of play. No balls and 1 strike to Haller. Trying to keep that runner close. Got a big lead, but it's still a lot of baseball left in this one. And here's a line drive. That's going to drop in for a hit. Here comes the runner around third. They're waving him home. Manfredi will not make a throw as he cuts the ball off, and it's now 9-2. The lead has been cut to 7. So second time up for David Waite. Good line drive single. Good swing on that ball. Forkballers finally break through here in the 4th inning. Fastball is high, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. Still 2 out here in the inning. Runner at first. It hit him. Next up is going to be Ray Vetter with first and second. Well, if they can get these 2 runners in with 2 out here in the top of the 4th, I'd say they're back in the ball game. After trailing 9-0, 2 have scored here in the top of the 4th. Strike called, and it's 0-1 on Ray Vetter. Two balls and 1 strike. Ray Vetter, the final hitter in the lineup here today for the BBQ Forkballers out of Philadelphia, PA. Led by manager Brett Mandel. This one is a pop-up. Will it stay in play for the catcher? He gives chase and cannot make the play. Well, a valiant effort, but to no avail. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Top of the 4th. Pitch to Vetter. And a ground ball that's going to find left field, a base hit. They're going to hold the runner up right there as the throw comes all the way into home plate. So Vetter with a base hit. And we're going to have a quick timeout here to maybe just give Dean a chance to think about what's going on with the bases loaded, as the Forkballers are on the verge of getting back into this ball game, trailing 9-2. Now we go back to the top of the order in Kessinger. First pitch in there for a strike. Flied out to right field back in the first and singled in the 3rd inning, so he's 1 for 2. And it's back up the middle, knocked down by Dean. Does he have time to get him at first? And he's going to be safe at first base, and that'll go as an infield hit. And all of a sudden, it's 9-3. Second hit for Kessinger. He gets an RBI, scoring Joe Howler. And now it's 9-3. It's a 3-run top of the 4th inning. Now Danny Tyler. I had Reynoso. Well, I don't know why I had Reynoso hitting second, but Danny Tyler. Good pitch. 1-1 the count. Bases remain loaded. Well, if you could clear the bases here, this barbecue team is going to be right back in it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Danny Tyler batting in the number 2 spot. And strike 3 called, and that'll retire the side. But the Forkballers kind of get back into this one. They do put up 3 runs on the board. Good job of damage control there with the bases loaded and 2 out. And at the end of 3.5 innings of play, Houston leads 9-3. 9-3 as we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. First batter up here for Houston. And that's their leadoff hitter, Chris Vallis. He's looking for his first hit. And he's 1 ball and 1 strike here in the home half of the 4th inning. Houston exploded in the first inning for 4 runs and then added 5 more in the bottom half of the 2nd inning and took a 9-0 lead. But the BBQ Forkballers got 3 back, and at least that kind of puts them back into the game. And this is one of those guys you want to keep off the base paths. He's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rick Stockton and Frank Manfredi to follow. The pitch. And that one is in the dirt. Nice job by Billy McDaniel, even though there was nobody on base. You got a quick shot of Rick Stockton, the on-deck hitter. And a chopping ball towards the 3rd baseman. He charges. He's up. He throws. He got him. Nice play by Dexheimer. And there's 1 down. That play goes 5-3. 1 up and 1 down here in the inning. Next up for the Houston Cyclones, second place hitter Rick Stockton. All he's done is singled. He's been hit by a pitch, drove in a run, and scored 2. He's produced 3 runs in the game, and he dribbles this one out in front, and the batter is out because of the interference, and that'll go 2 unassisted. And just like that, the Cyclones are down to their last out here in the 4th inning. They come in with a record of 1 win, 1 loss. Baye against Frank Manfredi, and that pitch looked pretty far outside, but It was called a strike, and it's no balls and one strike. Sklodowski is on deck, hoping for a chance to bat here in the fourth inning. 9-3, Houston is on top, scoring 9 times in the first 2 innings. And this one is grounded to shortstop, and it is going to be off the glove of Ray Vetter. And that ball was hit pretty hard. I think they're going to rule that an infield hit. Fourteenth hit already for the Houston Cyclones. And now the cleanup hitter is 2 for 2 with an RBI, and he grounds one to third. And Dexheimer is there, and the throw is low, and unable to scoop it out is the BBQ Forkballers' Chuck Lovell at first base, so that'll be an error on the third baseman. Runners are at first and second for Ruben Gomez, and he has been on base twice. He has had 2 RBI at-bats. And he chops one down to third. Here's the long throw, and in time, and this time he put a little something behind it, and we head to the fifth. Coming to you from Tempe-Diablo Stadium, we'll be back with more. Houston leads 9-3 here on APMvideo.com. And a beautiful wide shot of the winter home of the Los Angeles Angels. Well, Dean Cosme coming out for his 5th inning of work. He was the starting pitcher in this game. Lawrence Richmond takes a strike. Well, the big pitch for Dean Cosme, I think, has been either the changeup and or the curveball. And here's a chopping ball, and that's foul, and it's quickly no balls, 2 strikes on one of the longtime mainstays of the BBQ Forkballers, going back to the days they were the Victus Bats, and before that, the Chandler Bats Philadelphia. 2-strike pitch, and it's inside. Good crowd here on hand for this afternoon affair, Tempe-Diablo Stadium. Cosme kicks and deals, and it's grounded foul again. So the count, 2 strikes on Richmond, and a good eye there as he takes a ball. And it's 1-2. Dexheimer, the third baseman, is on deck. Dean kicks, he deals, and it is swung on and missed. Swung right over the changeup. And Dean, normally not a big strikeout pitcher, but in this game, that's strikeout number 5 and just 4 in a third inning. So that'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Aaron Dexheimer. Plays shortstop and third. Third base is his primary position. 2-0 to him. With Riley Burton on deck. Philadelphia does have 10 hits in this game, only 3 runs. 3 runs, 10 hits for BBQ Forkballers. And Houston has pounded out 9 runs on 14 hits. Ground ball down to third, and it's under the glove, and it trickles out into left field. That'll be an error on the third baseman. Well, for such an athlete, I'm surprised that he is getting a courtesy runner as Riley Burton digs in for the third time. Runner at first with 1 out, and Riley Burton, who has flied to right, he has singled and scored. Changeup and a bouncing ball over the middle, and this hard surface, we haven't had much rain lately, a little bit in the NABA tournament, and that ball just was like on artificial turf. So first and second occupied for Chris Godwin. Looking for his first hit. He did walk his last time and scored a run. We're in the top of the 5th inning, Philadelphia and Houston. And the Philadelphia Forkballers 9-3 trailing. But they got 2 on here, and a 3-run inning would put them right back into this ball game. Chris Godwin at the plate. Runner started to go and held up. Looked like a good pitch there by Dean Cosme. Cosme. But the hitter is in an advantage count here as the BBQ Forkballers look to get a little closer, and now the bases are loaded. Second time Godwin has walked. Chuck Lovell, the first baseman, has singled. That was in the second inning. His ground out to third in the fourth produced a run. He grounds to third again. They'll take it to the bag for one as the run scores. The throw to first is not in time. He has his second RBI at bat without the benefit of a base hit. And the runners are on the corners, and it's now 9-4 in favor of Houston, who's in the field. Joe Haller. And popped up down the right field line. It's going to be a fair ball, and it gets by the right fielder. One run is going to score. Here comes the runner to third, and he's going to stay right there, and that's an RBI hit. Haller has had 2 RBI singles in this game, and all of a sudden we got a new ball game. It's 9-5 as the Cyclones' 9-0 second inning lead is starting to dissipate here at Tempe-Diablo Stadium. That's going to bring up Lester Reynoso. So Lester up there with a chance. He had a base hit back in the fourth inning. Houston could use a ground double play, and he lines a single into center field, and it's now 9-6. That is the third run to score here in the inning. RBI single for Reynoso. That is hit number 13 in the ballgame. So the hits are nearly even, and let's see if Dean Cosme is going to be coming out of this ball game. 3 runs in the fourth, 3 in the fifth. He was cruising through the first 3 innings. And now Ray Vetter will dig in. He's only 2 for 2 singles. Well, that strike zone, it's amazing how that thing shifts throughout the game. So Ray Vetter up there. He's got runners at first and third, or first and second. 2 outs here in the inning. Yeah, although every run in this inning is unearned. So that will not go against the tally of Dean Cosme. And here's a high fly ball out in the center field. He hit it well, and that ball's going to be caught. Nice running catch out there, and that'll retire the side. Rick Stockton. But they come up with 3 runs. They cut the lead from 9-3 to 9-6. Halfway through this afternoon affair. 9-6 Houston over the Philadelphia BBQ Forkballers. All right, Houston would like to get some of those runs back, and here is Nick Collingham sending one out to left field, and it's going to be caught. Nice running catch by Danny Tyler, and there's one down. Now Vapy. 2-run double in the first. He walked in the second. Well, an outstanding play in center field by Rick Stockton. And the importance of that catch is Andre batting for the third time. 1 for 1 with 2 runs batted in and a walk. Valle in his 5th inning of work, still out there. This is a good battle right here. Good hitter at the plate in Vapy. But the importance of that Stockton catch in deep right center field is the fact there were 2 runners on base. This could easily have been, if he doesn't come up with it, a 9-8 ball game. But instead, Houston clinging to a 9-6 lead. They led 9-0 going into the top of the third. And Vapey, you can tell he wants to swing the bat. He does. He grounds it to shortstop. Nice play by Vetter, and the throw to first is in time. Outstanding play. 2 down here in the inning, and Mike Ross looking for his first hit of the contest. He's 0 for 2, batting here in the bottom half of the 5th inning, and he swings and grounds one deep in the hole. It took a nasty hop and goes out into left field. That is hit number 15 for the Cyclones. So Mike Ross is on base for the first time. Well, he did reach on a fielder's choice. And now Paul Bennett. Bennett has popped up to third. He is singled. 9 runs, 15 hits now for Houston. Valle in his 5th inning of work for the BBQ Forkballers. And that's grounded foul. I'd like to thank Brett Mandel and Dean Cosme for setting up today's broadcast. I'm not sure how many years we've been covering the Forkballers, all the way back to the Philadelphia Bats, Chandler Bats Philadelphia name that they had, 10, 12 years ago, I would assume. And that is going to be ball 4. So after the first 2 were retired, Ross singles, Bennett walks, and now the batter is going to be Rance Fredrickson. So Fredrickson batting for Chris Kelly. And the pitch is swung on, and a looper back of the second base bag. It drops in on the infield. And Vetter will pick it up. And the bases are loaded. So it's a single for Fredrickson. And now the batter is going to be Steve Kuntz. Fielder's choice in the second, a single in the third. He has also scored a run. So the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Valle well over the century mark in pitches thrown. That one was high and tight. Hit number 16 now after the at-bat by Fredrickson. That's in there for a strike. And it's 3-1. He needs a strike here. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And a fly ball foul. So the runners will get a head start here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded. Cyclones up by 3, and the pitch is inside ball 4, and that'll force in the run. That'll make it 10-6 Houston here in the bottom of the 5th inning. So an RBI for Steve Kuntz. Brett Mandel heading out to the Tempe-Diablo pitcher's mound to talk to Valle, and he's going to take the ball, and that's going to conclude his afternoon. So the bases will remain loaded, and the new pitcher will be Fred Clough. Fred Clough, catcher, pitcher, outfielder, and he is going up against the final hitter in the lineup, Russell Holder, the right fielder. With the bases loaded, 2 out, a run is in, and Houston leads it 10-6 here in the home half of the 5th inning. Well, let's see what Clough can do here, and that ball hit him. The first batter coming out of the bullpen, and he hits the batter. That's another run scored here for Houston. They lead it 11-6, and we go back to the top of the order, and that ball nearly hit Chris Vallis. Chris is looking for his first hit, reached on an error in the second and scored. He lines one down the right field line. That's a fair ball base hit. That'll get 1 run in, and they'll go station to station. And another run in here in this 5th inning. It's a 3-run inning. It's now 12-6 in favor of the Cyclones. First hit for Vallis. And next batter up is Stockton. Ground ball short. They go the short route, and the side is retired. But 3 big runs come across. We go to the Top of the sixth inning from Tempe-Diablo Stadium. 12-6 is the score. The Houston Cyclones over the BBQ Forkballers. Well, we got a new pitcher in here for the Cyclones. This will be the third pitcher used here. Or check that, the second pitcher used. And it'll be Chris Kelly. So Kelly at the plate. Or Kelly on the mound. Top of the order, Russell Kessinger. Kessinger, one of the top leadoff hitters in this 45-plus Cactus division. Always seems to be in that leadoff position for Brett Mandel throughout the years. He's 2 for 3, a single in the third and an RBI single in the fourth. So the BBQ Forkballers in those retro Philadelphia-like Phillies uniforms have their work cut out for them. Chris Kelly, Kessinger, and he was taking all the way. Full count to the left-handed hitting speedy outfielder. The wind, the pitch, and a swing and a foul. He just got a piece of it, and we'll live to see yet another pitch. The 3-2. Swung on and lifted in the air. Fair territory, long run for the shortstop, and he drops the ball. And that's Rick Stockton, and he'll get it back over to second base, and that'll be an error on the shortstop. That'll bring up second place hitter Danny Tyler. Danny has singled, flied to right. He has struck out in 3 tries. Runner at first, nobody out. Forkballers trailing 12-6 here in the top of the sixth inning. This one is lifted in the air, and I don't think anybody's going to get to it. It bounces into the third base dugout occupied by the BBQ Forkballers. The BBQ FBs. That almost came out funky. I almost said something I'm probably not allowed to say here on the broadcast. All right, let's see what Tyler can do against new pitcher Chris Kelly. Here in the top of the sixth inning, a throw over to first. We got a trivia question coming up. And since we got the Houston Cyclones, it'll be Houston Astro Trivia. Can you name the top 5 career hit leaders in Houston Astros history? Ground ball to the right side. Diving play by the second baseman, but he won't have a play at first, and that's an infield hit. And here they come, roaring back, the BBQ Forkballers with runners at first and second, and maybe their best hitter in Lawrence Richmond, who's 1 for 3, but had a tough time with that changeup and the curveball by starting pitcher for Houston, Dean Cosme. He's ahead in the count at 1 ball and no strikes here in the top of the sixth inning. And the Philadelphia Philly uniforms, the BBQ Forkballers down by 6, but they got the first 2 on. 2 balls and 1 strike on Lawrence Richmond with a dangerous Aaron Dexheimer on deck. Trying to keep that runner close. You got good speed at second. In Kessinger, you got good speed at first and Danny Tyler. Swung on and belted. Way back in the left field, but playable. And that ball's going to be caught. Nice catch. 1 down. That's a big first out here. So a nice job battling that high sky in the sun. Paul Bennett in left field. And now Dexheimer, who is looking for his first hit. He takes a strike, and it's 0-1. He is 0 for 3. He did score a run. He reached on an error in the 3-run 5th inning for Philadelphia. The BBQ Forkballers at the plate, first and second, one out. Two balls and one strike as Chris Kelly tries to work out of a jam here, with first and second occupied and one out in the pitch. Strike two called. 2 balls, 2 strikes on the cleanup hitter of the BBQ Forkballers here in the top of the 6th inning. The top 5 career hit leaders in Astros history. That's a foul ball. Well, number 1 ought to be easy because he's in the Hall of Fame, and he spent some 20 years in an Astros uniform. Tapper back to the mound. Nope, that's a foul ball. The catcher corrals it. I mentioned that Aaron, he's a great physique and in great shape and everything. He may have some kind of a leg injury that's keeping him from running the bases. Well, they've run the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The runners stay put, and it's inside ball 4. And now the bases are loaded. Second time on base for Dexheimer. Reached on an error and now on with a walk. And now Riley Burton, 2 for 3. He got robbed on a great catch out in right field by Russell Holder. He has singled twice. He has scored twice. And he turns on this one, barreled it up. He got the barrel out in front, but his eyes may have lit up just a little bit as he turns that one down the line foul. BBQ batting here and trailing by 6, but they got the bases loaded. So even if you get a couple of runs here, you can get back to within striking distance. This one is hit down the line. If that's fair, that's trouble, but it was way foul. Big cavernous dimensions here at Tempe-Diablo, 360 down the right field line. As this one is sent out into left center field. This is a long run. Nice catch. Here's the tag. Here's the throw home, and it's not in time. Riley Burton with a sacrifice fly. That's a big run right there. And now they're saying that the runner at third base left too soon, and that's going to be a double play, and BBQ Forkballers get nothing. So we head to the home half of the 6th inning here. 12-6 is the score with Houston on top. You're watching APM Video Sports and our coverage of the 2025 MSBL World Series. All right, first batter up here in the bottom half of inning number 6. It's going to be third baseman and third place hitter Frank Manfredi. He skies one out into left field. He hit it well. It's well over the head of the left fielder. Tyler gets it back in quickly. The throw is not in time. I think he missed the tag. That is the 4th hit of the day for Frank Manfredi. 3 singles, 2 runs, an RBI, and now a double to his credit. Sklodowski will bat. He has had base hits his first 2 times up. Scored a run in the first, drove in a run in the second, and reached on an error in the 4th inning. 12-6. And Chris hits one out of play. Kind of the acting manager today because Dean Cosme was the starting pitcher, and he didn't want to be distracted with the lineup and the ins and outs of managing a team. Runner goes. Hit and run, fouled back and out of play. A lot of times on that situation, that runner going with a left-handed hitter, that whole left side can open up. As the third baseman is covering the bag, and sometimes if you get an outside pitch like Chris did there, that can sometimes be an easy base hit, but he goes down swinging, and a nice job there by Fred, who came in relief last inning. So runner at second still. He'll throw back to second base, keep that quick runner close to the bag. That's Stockton out there batting for Manfredi, and the next batter up gets hit, and that's Ruben. Ruben's had a busy day today at the plate. First and second occupied. And now one of Houston's best hitters, Nick Collingham. He's 2 for 3, 2 RBI singles. He is also flied out. Apparently took that one for a ball. And another throwback, and boy, that was close. That little, we used to call that the daylight play. If you see space between the runner and the base and the shortstop, that's daylight. Here's a drive, but it's foul. Hit well. StatCast tells us that left his bat at 91 miles per hour. And now the runner from first will steal second base. So you got runners now at second and third. Only one out. That one almost got Nick, and he is on with a walk. And now the bases are loaded. And now Andre coming up for the fourth time. Houston leads 12-6. We're in the home half of inning number 6. Bases loaded, one out. Fastball high. Our trivia question, can you name the top 5 career hit leaders in Houston Astro history? And a stolen base attempt of home, and he did not make it. Boy, I'll tell you what, I don't know if I've ever seen that in this MSBL World Series. And I haven't seen anything of that kind since the days of Tim Raines and Ricky Henderson, Vince Coleman. And a line drive, that ball's going to be caught by the second baseman, and that'll retire the side. We're heading to the 7th inning of play, and it's 12-6 in favor of the Cyclones out of Houston. Now, Chris Godwin will start things off as we go to the top of the 7th inning. The Philadelphia-based BBQ Forkballers have their work cut out for them. Pop-up second baseman. He comes in and makes a sprawling catch. How about that for a Marucci play of the day? Rance came running in. He had a long ways to go. The ball wasn't hit all that high. And so Godwin is retired on a fine defensive play at second base, and there's one down for Chuck Lovell. Chuck has singled, grounded out, which produced a run, hit into a fielder's choice, which also produced a run, and he came around to score. Chris Kelly on the mound here, trying to protect that lead. I don't know if we're going to get 9 innings in, but we'll have to wait and see, as we have had a lot of long innings throughout this game. So 1 out, nobody on for Chuck Lovell. Overall 1 for 3, but he's got 2 RBI at bats, 2 RBIs overall, and a run scored. And that's ball 4, so he draws a walk. And now the 2 for 3, Joe Haller. He's had 2 separate RBI at bats. He has scored a run. He has driven in 2, and he just got hit by a pitch. And this is not the kind of thing that you want to do when you have a 6-run lead late in the game. Start putting guys on base without them even taking the bat off their shoulder. All right, so Lester Reynoso is the batter here in the top of the 7th inning, and that's swung on, and a ground ball to first. Now, the umpire's got his hands in the air, and apparently that ball was fouled off. It didn't, I don't know if it really looked like it. So Lester will have another chance to bat here. He's 2 for 2. He had an RBI single back in the 5th. And he hammers one into right center. That's going to be a base hit. And they're going to be loaded. So the runners go station to station. That's hit number 15 for the BBQ Forkballers. There's a good look at Lester Reynoso. And now the batter will be the final hitter in the lineup, Robert Hawkey. Hawkey is batting in place of Ray Vetter in that final spot in the lineup here for Brett Mandel. Bases are loaded and a golden opportunity here for the Forkballers to get back into the game. This is a vital part of this game, and we may not even see a ninth inning. Here's a ground ball to shortstop. They'll go to second one, and the throw on to first. It's a little wild. Here comes the runner around third to score. And 2 runs are going to come across, and it's now 12-8. And now the Cyclones are coming off the field, and I think they called an interference on Reynoso at second base. And it's probably because he kind of rolled in there a little bit, but I didn't think that was aggressive, or I don't know if I agree with that call. And Brett Mandel is clearly upset. You don't see that very often from him. So that'll be an inning-ending double play, 5-4. And now Riley Barton is on the mound as we go to the home half of the 7th inning. So they get nothing. And, you know, you talk about Brett Mandel. I've done a lot of games for him. This is a guy, a very focused manager. And you could just tell by his body language, he's holding his head down, that he is really upset on that inning-ending call at second base that really has taken the Forkballers maybe out of this ball game, depending on how many more innings we're going to play. So we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning, and the first pitch is hit by a bat, by the ball, and he will take first base. So Mike Ross is at first base. Paul Bennett now digging in. He is 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. So the score remains 12-6 Houston. Bennett up there with a runner at first base and nobody out. And Barton delivers a called strike. In relief of Clow, Fred Clow. And he's way ahead in the count with a runner at first and nobody out. And the way this game has been going, you might want to add a couple insurance runs if you are Houston. That's out of play. Houston, the home team in this 45 and over Cactus Division play. Forkballers with championships in 21, 22, and 23. And I guess after they conclude this World Series, as that's ball 4. And so 2 on with nobody out for Chris Kelly's spot in the lineup. And the first pitch is inside ball 1. However, this is Fredrickson. So Lance Fredrickson batting from the right-handed side. He takes a strike called. Runners taking their lead at first and second. The pitch is swung on and walloped down the line. Foul. Well, with the walk to Bennett, that is the 5th walk issued by BBQ Forkballer pitching. They've also hit 4. Here's a ground ball in the hole, and it's going to get under the glove of the shortstop and go out in the left field, and that's a base hit. So the bases are loaded as Fredrickson comes through. He's 2 for 2 now at the plate. And that is hit number 19 on the day. And now the batter, or is that 18? That was the 18th hit, and here's Steve Kuntz. Fielder's choice, single, RBI walk, and he lines one to left field, base hit. They'll probably go station to station. They'll hold the runner at third, but it's an RBI single for Steve Kuntz. Hit number 19 now for the Houston Cyclones, and they lead it 13-6. So the batter is going to be Russ Holder, the right fielder, the fleet-footed right fielder. He is singled. He has walked. Actually got hit by a pitch that drove in a run. Also grounded to shortstop. He bats here in the 7th inning. 1 run is in. It's 13-6. Going up against Riley Burton. And he got hit again. That is the 5th hit batsman of the day. And that's going to force in another run, and it's now 14-6. So we will see. I think this is a new hitter. This is Almendarez. And the first pitch to Almendarez is in there for a strike. Swing and a foul. With the bases loaded, no balls and 2 strikes. High drive in the center field. Base hit. 1 run is going to score. It is bobbled by the center fielder. And again, they'll go station to station. It's 15-6. So an RBI single, a little lawn dart into left center field by Thomas Almendarez. And now Chris batting for the 6th time, and that one gets by the shortstop. That's a hit. Here comes the runner home, and there's 2 more runs coming in, and it's 17-6 on a 2-run single by Chris Vallis. Well, they're starting to pour it on. A 5-run home half of the 7th inning here for the Houston Cyclones. And here is Rick Stockton, and he's batting for the 6th time. He swings and misses. Single hit batsman. Twice. That is the 2nd time he has been hit by a pitch. And now runners are at 1st and 2nd. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and he's trying to shake that one off. And, well, the manager of the BBQ Forkballers, Brett Mandel, will come in. 4th pitcher used. Mandel, the commissioner of his local MSBL chapter in the Philadelphia area. Going up against the 4-for-4, Frank Manfredi. 3 singles, a double, 2 runs, and an RBI. He's had a big game up there and nearly got hit by that pitch. In the air, center field. That's going to drop in. That is his 5th hit of the day. Here comes a runner around, and it's 18-6 in favor of the the Houston Cyclones. So he's 5 for 5. Chris is not going to bat here, and it looks like they're going to send up Belafonte. So Belafonte batting for the first time. Sklodowski was 2 for 4. Singled in his first 2 times up, had a single and a run scored. And my goodness, there's another hit batsman, the 4th of the inning. That is the 4th hit batsman of the inning. That is number, I'm losing count. That is the 6th hit batsman of the day. And Gomez hits a ground ball to shortstop. He'll take it to the bag. And Valle's throw to first is in time. That's a double play. And it's now 20-6. So no RBI on that one. 8 runs have come across. And now Gomez. Or check that was Gomez. Here's Nick Collingham. My score sheet looks like some chicken or a cat walked through some ink. Man, I'm telling you, when you get these big innings like that, it takes a little management. So here is Collingham, a pair of RBI singles in the 1st and 2nd inning. He has flied to left. He walked in the 6th. Jeff Lowry coming to you here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Houston. It looked like the BBQ Forkballers were going to maybe climb back into this ball game, as that's ball 4. And now Andre doubled in two his first time up, and he sends a fly ball to left field and a sprawling catch. That is made to retire the side. Chris Godwin with an outstanding job. But in the inning, they pick up 8 runs. We head to the 8th. It's 20-6 in favor of the Cyclones at the 2025 MSBL World Series and Diablo Stadium. Jeff Lowry back here from the ballpark. And I'll tell you what, that play as Kessinger stands in here to start the 8th inning, he's been on base 3 times. One time he reached on an error, and he has 2 hits. He's driven in 1, and he has scored 1, and he starts things off here in the top of the 8th. But that, and I'm assuming that was an interference call on Reynoso that just took the Forkballers right out of what could have been a big inning. And then Houston, as that's going to be ball 4, Houston scores 8 times in the bottom of the 7th. We're in the top of the 8th inning. And first up is Billy McDaniel, batting for Danny Tyler, who had 2 hits and 4 tries. Well, the umpires are going to discuss something here. I thought at first, boy. And now he's given a warning over to the BBQ Forkballers dugout. And you know Brett Mandel's not happy with this home plate umpire by any stretch of the imagination. 2 balls and no strikes. Leadoff hitter aboard here in an inning in which the Forkballers got to try to cut into a 14-run Houston lead. That's a strike. It's 2-1. 3 balls and 1 strike. And that's inside ball 4. So a walk to McDaniel. And the next pitch to Lawrence is taken for ball 1. "15 hits in total now. And Lawrence taking all the way. And he's a pitch away from drawing a walk. 3 balls and no strikes with Chris Kelly on the mound here in relief of the starting pitcher, manager Dean Cosby. Ball 4. And the bases are loaded. He has walked the first 3 batters in the inning. And the first pitch to Aaron Dexheimer, the cleanup hitter, is ball 1. Two and nothing. Eight walks now total for the Forkballers. You got that one over. 8 walks, 15 hits for BBQ. And that is going to be a 3rd strike called. And Aaron was starting to go down to first base. And that's the one thing I've noticed in the first 2 weeks of this tournament. Guys that do that on a 3-2 pitch, the umpire rings them up. I don't know if they colluded. Haven't seen that in past years, not to the degree that I've seen. So if you see a borderline pitch and your count is 3-2 and you're hitting, take a second before you go to the base. And now Riley Burton has been hit by a pitch, and that's going to force in the first run here for the BBQ Forkballers in the top of the 8th inning, and that cuts it to 20-7. So we're going to have a new pitcher come in, and this is going to be Ben Belafant. First pitch called strike to Chris Godwin, who made a tremendous catch out in left field. He has walked twice. He's 0 for 2 in 4 tries. 8th inning action. And he grounds one through the right side for a base hit. And the throw will be cut off. And Chris Godwin with an RBI, and now it is 20-8. That is the 16th hit of the ball game. First pitch in there for a called strike. 16 hits. They've walked 8 times. I'm seeing 2 hit batsmen so far in the game. This one's popped up, but no one's going to get to this one. It's going to bounce into the third base dugout, occupied by the Forkballers. So 2 runs have come in. The bases remain loaded. And right now, the Cyclones just need to throw strikes. They have walked 3 in the inning, including a hit batsman. And here's a drive into left field, long run, and that ball's going to be caught. Throw back to second, not in time. Nice play by Paul Bennett in left field. So there's 2 down, and here's Joe Holler. 2 RBI singles to his credit. He's also been hit by a pitch. And he swings and wallops one way back into deep left field, and it's going to be over the head of Bennett, and this is going to clear the bases. This is a 2-run double, and the BBQ Forkballers have put 4 runs up on the board here in the inning, and now have cut it, or rather 5 runs, and they have cut the lead to 20-11. And now Reynoso, who has batted 3 times, 3 singles. That was hit number 17 for BBQ. And Reynoso swings and he misses. And even though the outcome of this game is still in the balance, Dean Cosme, starting pitcher and manager of the Houston Cyclones, would be the winning pitcher as long as the Forkballers don't tie it or take the lead. Reynoso has 3 singles to his credit. And a wave and a miss and a foul tip, I should say, back to the screen. 2 out, runner at second base. 5 runs have scored. But they're still down by 9 as he gets a piece of that one. Does what good hitters do, foul off the tough pitches in hopes of getting one he likes. Nick Collingham's caught this whole game. Great job back there. The backstop of the Houston Cyclones, led by their manager, Dean Cosme. Pitch. And the breaking ball. Good eye that time by Reynoso. Well, I'll give you the answer to our trivia question. Can you name the top 5 career hits leaders in Houston Astro history? And he stays alive there, fouls that one off. He was way out in front on that breaking pitch. Might get a fastball here. Nope, another breaking ball. High chopper, but it's going to roll foul. So Lester Reynoso batting here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Strike 3 called. And down he goes, and that'll retire the side. So a good job by Belafonte. But they get 5 runs in the inning, and we head to the home half of the 8th, which I think could very well be our final inning. We're coming up on that 3-hour threshold. Second inning of work for the Forkballers manager, Brett Mandel. So we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mike Ross will start things off against Mandel. So at number 5 on the list is Cesar Cedeno, one of the outstanding players in Astros history. Had some trouble. Wasn't he even accused of murdering somebody down in the Dominican or somewhere in Latin America? He comes in at number 5, and his teammate back in the 70s and maybe early 80s as this ball is skied to left field, playable, and Godwin's got it, and there's one up and one down here in the Houston home half of the 8th inning. So that's going to bring up Paul Bennett. Jose Cruz comes in at number 4 on the list. Had a kind of an unusual stance. Here's a chopping ball, and that's foul, and that one bounces over Richmond's head. Brett Mandel, special thanks to him and Dean for setting up today's broadcast. Here's a fly ball out in the center field into the sun, and that ball is off the glove of the center fielder, Danny Tyler, and coming to third is Paul Bennett. So a one-out triple. That is hit number 23 on the day. I know my numbers aren't the same as the scoreboard. And now Chris Kelly comes to the plate. Actually, this is Rance Frederickson. Two for two with 2 runs scored. And he goes down on strikes. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Steve Kuntz is the batter. Number 3 on the list is Hall of Famer first baseman Jeff Bagwell. And here's a pop-up on the infield. The first baseman racing in. That's Waite, and that will retire the side. So a good inning for the for the BBQ Forkballers pitching staff. And we go to the top of the 9th inning. And it's still 20-11 in favor of Houston. Jeff Lowry back here from Tempe-Diablo Stadium. Here's a swing and a ground ball foul as Hawkey bats down here at the bottom of the order. And he grounds one to short. And a nice job there. Long throw, scooped out nicely by the first baseman. Rick Stockton throws him out. One up and one down. Well, we go to the top of the order, and batting now for the 6th time. I think I said that last time. Russ Kessinger, he takes a low ball. Number 2 on the all-time hit list in Houston Astros history is Jose Altuve with over nearly 250 hits going into this season. Here's a chopping ball that's going to find center field. That is the 3rd hit of the day for Kessinger. He's been on base 5 times if you count the error. He has scored twice. He's driven in a run. And good speed at first base. And now Danny Tyler. Swing and a miss. 18th hit of the day. 11 runs, 18 hits. Houston got 4 runs in the first, 5 in the second. And that ball hit him. So another hit batsman in this ball game. And now Lawrence Richmond. And I don't think I have to give you a hint on who's number 1 on the all-time hit list. The only Houston Astro player with 3,000 career hits in an Astros uniform. And that's Craig Biggio. So there you go. Cedeno 5, Cruz 4, Bagwell 3, Altuve number 2, Biggio number 1. Here is a looper out in the right center field, and he was unable to come up with it. Well, it was a valiant effort by Gomez, and now runners will be at 2nd and 3rd. And the batter is Aaron Dexheimer, so give Richmond credit for an RBI. Ground ball down to 3rd. There'll be no throw. It's 20-12 here in the top of the 9th inning. And that'll be a fielder's choice. And the next batter up is Riley Burton. He swings and hits one to shortstop. Picked up there. Nice job. Throw to first, safe. So he beats it out. That's an infield hit. And coming in the score is Lawrence Richmond. It is a 3-run ninth inning. Check that, a 2-run ninth inning, and it's now 20-13. So the next batter up is going to be Riley Burton. So 13 runs on 19 hits as we're winding down. Craig Biggio, the all-time hit leader, the only Astro with 3,000 career hits. And started out as a kind of a light-hitting catcher and went on to have a truly great career. He and Jeff Bagwell, the MVPs. And here's a comebacker to the mound. So they will go to first base, and we have reached the 3-hour time limit. The ball game is over, and the Cyclones win it by a final score of 20-13. 20 runs, 23 hits for the Cyclones. BBQ Forkballers, 13 runs, 20 hits. Winning pitcher, Dean Cosme is the winning pitcher. He was a starter for Houston as they run their record to 2-1.